signs of suicide. Maybe because, like I said, back then, it was in 2017, there wasn't much information like we have now to even go to find out what is bipolar. What does it really do? When a person has it, what are the traits? We didn't quite even have the knowledge to say that you can even ask the psychiatrist to tell us what are the things we need to look out for. And we never had the conversation with him to ask what comes in your thoughts when you're in these episodes, or what happens when you sleep or when you're...
Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Moments with Nyengeterai. Thank you so much for following, for subscribing, for just being such an amazing community. The amount of comments, the messages that you're sending us, and also just how blessed you are being with these messages really mean a lot to us. And we'll continue to bring the topics that you're asking for, the guests that you're asking for. I'll do my best with the team to make sure that we give you the right things and the things that you're asking for. So today, I have a very interesting guest. We had to stalk her because she does something that a lot of you have been asking about. So, Shannon, welcome.
Thank you so much, Ning. I really wanted to ask, I follow you, but out of the blues, I received a message. I was like, oh my God, okay. Now it makes sense when you stalked me. I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
It's such a pleasure having you. Just in brief, can you tell our viewers who you are, what you do, what you're about?
Okay. All right. So my name is Shannon. I'm 30. Wow. I'm 33 years old. I always miss that part because there's a time that I stopped celebrating my birthday.
You must celebrate your birthday.
So yeah, I'm 33 years old. I am a mother of a 14-year-old boy.
Wow.
A wife. I'm a bubbly person. I just love to smile. I love to laugh. I just enjoy that kind of energy and space. I'm a systematic family therapist by profession. I love just being around good energy. I enjoy my own company.
That's good.
I enjoy my own company, and I would say it also just came with just growing up to really appreciate, getting to really know me as me without being attached to any other person. So yeah, I think that's just me in a nutshell.
Oh wow! So let's go. Let's start with your childhood. I always like to start there because I think for a lot of us, it either defines who we become or what we do, or it plays a pivotal role somehow. Talk to me about your childhood, how you grew up, and if there's anything of significance that happened during your childhood or your teenagehood that has created the woman you have become.
Wow. It's weird to be on the other side. I'm the one who gets to ask that questions in sessions. But yeah, I'm the firstborn of 3 children in my family. I can say my childhood was not all rosy, right? But I came from a family where we believed in love. There was unity. We usually just had to do things together, even extended family-wise. So we had unity, we had love. I had a time that I was the only child for almost 10 years.
Oh, wow.
So I received all the love that I could get and the attention, and I was Daddy's daughter. He's late now. I was Daddy's daughter, and he would take me along the hoops to do everything. And I think that has also shaped me to be who I am. I'm hands-on. The things that probably you'd think, this is a guy's thing. They can, put electric wires together. I can do that. Yeah. So that also has shaped me to be a person who is able to do things. When I put my mind, I want to learn, I want to know. It came from me being close to my dad. to take me through with that. And then when my brother came, I was excited of having a sibling. And I can't say I did not have quite a difficult time because it was long overdue. As a child, I remember crying to be going with anyone and everyone that came by because I was lonely most of the times. You would not have, that sister or that brother. So when my brother came, it was the two of us, and we quite grew up together well. And I think also that is where I then became to be the server that I am. I love serving people. I also suffered some consequences of over-serving and always putting people a lot first. But I think that then made me to be the server that I am, where I really just want him to get what he needs. I was there. I was every single time he would be in a good space. He's eaten, he's gone to preschool, he's back, he's done this and that. What can be interesting again in my childhood? I think from the childhood is not much interesting. The interesting part will be in my teenage years. Yeah. So growing up, I said we came from a family where there was love, where there was unity. I remember we even had some extended family that we lived together. And then fast forward to my Form 4. Yeah. That was the time when we started dating, having those rush moments. You find the love of your life and all of those kind of things. And yeah, I think I had gotten my my chance with love then. And my dad, being my dad who loved me that much, right? He was kind of strict when I was now in my teenage years. He would tell you 6 o'clock, when the tower light switches on, you must be in.
Yeah, oh my gosh, the tower light story.
When the tower light is switching on, you must be home. You tell me where you want to go. I'll take you there. I'll pick you up. This and that, this and that. And he would make sure that I get like those extra things that probably boys would use to lure you into their spaces. So I usually would get that. And he would say, I want you to experience these things so that people don't use that to manipulate you or to get things out of you. So yeah, we traveled. I would get chocolates, the same ones that my mom would get. I would get that. Yeah. So then now growing up, being a teenager, you're over your head and all that. Then there was a day that I came back home late. I think around after 6. And he was home. I went home and no one opened the door for me. And he was like, you know what? Go back where you came from. And I was like, okay.
Like 6 p.m.
Yeah, it was not really like that. It was really not that late. Go back where you came from. I tried to sit on the veranda and was like, that arrogant teenager thing. You're like, okay, fine. Then I went back to my then boyfriend. Dad say this and that. I was like, okay, cool. Then I'm there, their family house and all that. Fast forward after that, that was how I got to be eloped at the age of 18 years old. Right? At the age of 18 years old. That is a really whole story because, having to think, I would not want to blame my dad or even to blame my then boyfriend, but I can also say I've got to be the one who's also on blame because, I was naive and young, but I also knew what I was doing was going to mean. So I would not play that victim that, I was 18 years, I was naive, I was overzealous, I was, having so much things and all that, but I knew what I was doing, what I was getting myself into. And I got married, right? 18 years old. No, actually,
they never came looking for you.
They did. They did. My aunts were in support. They were like, that's how we all went. It's okay. I mean, she's grown and she wants to be a woman, a wife. Let her. But my dad was like, come back. My mom would call, come back home. For me, I was now in my 9th cloud. Yes. I was like, I think I can do this. I can write my A level from this side, and I can do it. He's promising me the whole world, and it's okay. I can do it.
Yeah.
Don't worry. Yeah. So yeah, wife at 18 years old. In the end, we were living our lives. My dad then accepted. And he then said, I want you to continue to go to school on my account, not on his. I want to still put my role as a dad. And I appreciate him for that, because it also gave me a sense of, life does not just end when you become someone's life, or you don't have to stop dreaming when you then become a wife. So I went back to school. I wrote my A levels, and I didn't quite perform the way I was supposed to. So then, yeah, it's okay. Fast forward, the marriage was abusive. A lot of things happened, and I remember my dad was like, I don't want to tell you things, and I respect that you're an adult now. I just want you to tell me what you want to do with your life. And I particularly chose this part of my life because I think I haven't told much of this story, like openly like this. Few of my friends would know, a few relatives would know, but the way I was now living, I would say, when you're in your, what can I say? When you in a marriage and you are out of love and you are staying, that time my son was like, I think from the pregnancy till he was born, it was just me in the marriage. He was doing him and I was just doing me. And that time I was then heavily pregnant, and then I stopped going to school because I was now doing my administration. My mom said, do not stop. Just get something, a certificate, whatever it is, we'll pay. So I then stopped for a little bit.
How old were you now?
19, because I had my son when I was 20.
Oh.
So that was about almost a year and a half, right? I was in a moment where I was like, what am I doing here? I don't love this person anymore. The feeling that I thought or was love is not there. The son that I'm staying here for him, he's not even having to acknowledge him. So really, what am I doing? And believe me, I tried to leave so many times. And I would usually go back.
By yourself?
By myself. I would usually go back. You would talk me out of it. Come on, we can work this out, this and this and that. And yeah, then I think the last straw was when he hit me, and then I went back home, and then my dad was like, I think I want to talk to your father, not to you, because I think maybe we are not understanding. Can you bring your father here? Then I can talk to him. Then maybe he can talk to you, so that whatever it is happening, I may know, because one day I don't want to come and get my daughter's corpse when you have killed her. So after that, that's when I then said, I think I don't need to tell him. I don't need to do this. Let me just pack my stuff, get my baby on my back, and we left. And, that was the hardest day of my life. I remember it was raining, and I didn't ask for anything, any money, whatever. And I had my son on my back, and we were walking, and I got home, and my mom and my dad took me with open arms. They did not even ask me what's going on that time. And
you carry anything, your clothes?
My clothes and my son's clothes. We got home. No one asked me anything. Okay, you're here. It's fine. We ate. We slept. Then the next morning, then my dad was like, I'll just give you a few days, because then this is also your habit now. You can come and then go back again. So I want you to think about what you want to do with your life. Whatever it is, I'll support you in anyhow. So that was the last time, and that was the time that I then became a single mother at the age of 21 with my A-level certificate, no job. And it was a journey that was hard because back then it was not how single parenting or divorced is the way it is now. Back then it was something that the society would be like, oh, did you hear she left her husband or she was sent back home? It was so much to leave a marriage or to be a single person or to be divorced. And that journey made me to be a person who is the stronger part that I am in right now. I say that because I started from the starting point in terms of my goals, in terms of education. I obtained my degree when I was 31 years old.
Wow.
And I just felt that I could just do it again, even though there were years where I could not dream anymore. I did not even have the dreams. I was just there. But I then say to myself, I want to start again. And I'm happy that my parents were supportive. They gave me that chance. And after I came back, I told them, I just want a fresh start where you do not support me financially. Let me go to SA. And I packed my bags.
By yourself?
By myself.
What made you think of that?
I think just the change of scenario, number one. And that time, SA was also the next best thing that you can get. I know it still is, but it was still easier those days that you can go to SA, find jobs. Before then, we were using asylums. Those times, there were no much of the work permits and all that. So I was just like, I want a change of scenery. I want to have a fresh start. I want to just go out there and get what I want, not being given the things or the tools to do. Let me go and search and do it right this time. And I also wanted to give back to my parents, to say, I've disappointed you in this, because my dad was heartbroken because I was his all that he had so much expectations and all that. So I wanted to really give them proof that, I can do this. Even yes, I'm not yet fully grown, but I'm able to start again. I am able to be that girl, that woman who is going to make you proud, to even say, that's my daughter right there. That's my daughter. And I'm happy that I did.
What do you think made you or gave you the courage to be able to say, I'm going to start again? What do you believe was the driving force?
I would say it was the emotional abuse. Because I was younger, he was way older, done with his university, had business going on and all that. And you were someone who was worthless, right? So all that, what can you do? Who can you be? You are under me and all of those kind of things. There's nothing much that you can do. You're just here, you're a wife, you're a mother. And so that on its own, I also just had that drive to say, no, I don't think that I'm unable to do these things. I had dreams before you and I had things that I wanted to do and I can get them. And now I want to get them by myself. Because you would say, your family will always be there to cover for you and do this. Then I said, no, this time I want to do it by myself. So I could say that was more of a drive and want to prove to myself and to him that I can do and be the person I want to be.
Wow. Then you went to SA. Did you go with your son?
No, unfortunately, I left him. He stayed behind with my parents, and yeah, it was hard. Like I said, I was now in a place where I had to be extra responsible. Like I said, I had my past with me, But now I had to make better choices, knowing that I also have someone who was dependent on me. And I also now do things that will affect him, the choices that I would make. And I had plans for him to join me later on when I was settled. Then I decided to come back home after 2 years.
What made you come back? What made you come back after 2 years?
I thought I was ready to face what I had left behind. Because honestly speaking, I also went because I wanted to run away also from the shame, to run away from even relatives saying, oh, she's back with my husband. Oh, okay. Did they try enough? How these things happen? Oh, wanga visirwa, all of those kind of things. So I was ready to now face what I had left, the judgments, the name callings, and I had courage to say, yeah, I did that. And I can't say I can have to carry that on my head and continue that life with. So, yeah.
Wow. For me, just the fact that you wanted to come back, and you came back to face the shame, I think that's a lot. And how did you take it? I mean, initially, I'm sure like people were like, I know. How did you take it? Is this when you started going towards becoming who you are now, which we want to get into as well? But how? Because I know that it's not easy for people to heal. It's not easy for people to say that I'm ready. What is it?
I can say that when I came back, my drive was to just move on with my life. Mm-hmm. I told myself that, people will still talk. I've done this, yes. But if people want to continue to talk, let them talk. I will not listen and stop my life for that. And Nyenga would say that ever since I came back from that time, I've been doing a diploma after diploma. I was doing any kind of schoolwork that I would get to pile up whatever I was. And for some years, I was actually clueless. I've got qualifications all over just because I wanted to prove a point. And years later, I even set myself down to say, I did not have quite a sense of direction. Probably I did not really quite get the research I needed to also find out where am I really rooted in. So I was all over because of trying to prove that point of I can do it. Yeah. But I was focused. I said, I'm just going to be focused in attaining the qualifications, in attaining the jobs that I can get. And fortunately enough, I came back. The diploma in administration I did, they would also, the institution would look for jobs for you and they would recommend. And I think in a month I was in my work and I was able to look after myself and my son. And I went back to my dad and I was like, I know it may be something that is not the usual thing, but I want to move out. Not that because I want to go and do things that are not right, but I want to stand on the consequences of my life. I have a son and I am taking care of him in my life. So it just allowed me to move out with him and go find my place to stay. And he was, it's okay. It's fine. Where do you want to go? He took me there. We found a place. I started living there with my son. And I started to pay my own bills. Took my son to preschool, going to work. I took my driver's license without a car. And I think it was just the drive of just wanting to move to the next thing and not really take what people are saying. Yeah.
Wow. When you're talking about that you're just doing all this, piling all these diplomas, I'm now thinking, so how did you then come to what you're doing now and helping families? How did you decide on that? Because, literally to say, okay, this is what I want to do and this is how I'm going to serve. Yeah. And this is how we're going to start. And then what do you actually do and how do you serve people?
That's an interesting one, Nyenge. At first, I started the school after my dad suggested for me to do it for my own healing and personal growth. When I came back from SA, he was like, yeah, I know you're working. I know you're doing this. But I heard someone talk about Connect, the systematic family therapy college, and they say they have a program which is quite helpful for individuals. I'm not saying do this profession, but it's something that can help you. Why don't you try and do it? So I went there for my own self-healing and self-discovery. And little did I know that after qualifying, I worked, a bit in that. And then I stopped in between. And then he was diagnosed with bipolar in 2016.
Your dad?
My dad.
Wow.
And the diagnosis came by way I was in my second year, I think, when I got to pick out some issues that his moods were manic, very low. He was too aggressive. He was having some problem in sleeping, a lot of things. So because we had a good relationship, I was open with my dad. You could go to him and talk about anything. So I was like, you know what, Dad, I just don't know. Can we just talk about this? That time I was working in the medical field as an administrator. So I talked to my boss and I was like, this is the issue. In school, we're learning this, but then this comes to be what my dad is portraying. And I just don't want to go to him without the facts or whatever. Then she was like, there are symptoms of a mental disorder. I'm not qualified to diagnose or anything, but maybe I can give you someone who can help you. Then you can take your dad and find out if he's interested. So that's when we went.
How did he take it? I mean, sure, I know African parents. I imagine telling your dad, I think you have bipolar. Let's go see it. How did he take it? And also, how did he agree to go?
I think for him, he was in a position where he wanted help at that time. It then all made sense from there of the things that happened to say, oh, now I know this is what it meant. This is what it was. If I'll give an example of, he was a person who would get extremely anxious of going to visit my brother to his school. You've got everything. The car would even be taken to a service to be checked, everything, that there won't be any tire burst, there won't be anything. The groceries are there. Just us getting in the car and going, he will get extra worries on that. So we had just said, no, that's Dad. That's how he is. But then it was something that was already bothering him. So when I then brought the issue, I think he was ready to get the help already, because it's something that we never saw. Even my mom started to try to want to understand when he was now in therapy. I remember there's a time that they went together. It was something that also she understood afterwards. We lost him to suicide a year after that. So, it's all right. It was then when she then said, but now it's making sense, because back then you used to do this, you used to do that. Okay. So I think he was ready to get the help. I think he was just ready. So he received it well, and he was in therapy. He got medication, and I don't have any answers of really what happened to the point that he had to took his own life. So I would say from all that experience, that has also been the drive now that I have to say, I know how it feels to have a parent or a loved one that goes through certain things. And I know the expense of not having help early. And I know how it is to lose a person. And it was not an easy journey on ourselves and onto him. And not to talk about my mother, even during the time and even afterwards. And still now, it's still a healing journey that we have to take every day. So I then said to myself, I really just need to utilize this. So I qualified, and then I set aside the qualification, continued in the medical field that I was. And then I think 3 years ago, that was like, I think I'm in the wrong place. I started to do volunteering in different organizations. And then I actually find out that I really love this whole thing. I really feel that I have, like that sense of really feeling what people are feeling. And I am at the space where even emotionally I had healed. I'm still healing from losing dad. And I took that as a strength to say, I can go in front and take people's hands and say, we can take one day at a time. We can take how the situation is. And that's how I got to get involved into the family therapy that I am now. And yeah, I've got dreams and visions from this. And I really hope that I would not get to stop at any cost.
So when you're reflecting, when you reflect on dad's life and your childhood, now that you're qualified, do you see any patterns? Have you seen any patterns? And what should people look out for? Especially, the people who are probably sitting with relatives at home or siblings, parents, who are probably having the same symptoms. I don't know if they're called symptoms, but are probably overlooking. And I think a lot of people then just say, what kind of things should we look out for?
I would say first, patterns were there. He was a person who was, like I said, uneasy, right?
From when you were young.
Yeah. Now that I'm reflecting to see, okay. He was a person who was uneasy most of the time. He was a person who wanted to do things the way he wanted, in a way that he linked it to his own childhood, because he also grew up without his dad present. And now he wanted to also prove that also to us that, I'm not going to leave you in all that. And I think also because of that, he did not go through his own journey of self-discovery, healing, and finding out exactly what that meant for you. You would find that he would do things that you could question to say, okay, we are at a party, a family gathering, and now all of a sudden, let's go. I don't want to be here. And if you don't want, I'll go, I'll leave you behind. The next thing you get home, he's back to himself again. What's going on? So we would have like those times when we were saying, how is he today? What is he is like? So his mood swings were quite frequent. Any time that you could have, and you would say he had different personalities. People at work will tell you different things. I've seen him in different personalities by himself. And you could tell even with the confusion of how he did things, even in terms of making decisions of investing, of acquiring property. He was the person who didn't want to get attached to things that are quite serious, because he felt he was scared to lose those things again. To what if he fails like how his father did. So I would really not want to give like general lookouts, because it then is different from people. But there are things that you then look for which are quite not the normal, like the issues of the sleeping patterns. How does that person... I then found out that my dad would probably sleep for 2 hours a night. Mom would he would be up every other 30 minutes, 2 hours, walking around the house, coming back, trying to lock doors again and all that. So we just thought that he was a person who didn't quite sleep, and he would wake up early because he would not be sleeping. So there are those things that, sleeping patterns can tell that this may be not something that is right. Violence as well, I would tell it can also come from those things, because other people use that as a way of proving themselves that I'm the man, I'm in charge, I've got control over you, over my family, over this, because it's also something that we went through as a family during the times of when he was alive. So yeah, we also just don't have to overrule things to say he's a violent person, he's a quiet person. And I will tell you, my dad will talk to me about anything and everything, and we'll talk and laugh. But when he's with someone else, he's a totally different person. He was so extremely quiet, very quiet, that it would even be awkward to just sit there and there's nothing that he can really talk about. So there are those things that we can't just normalize to say that's how it is. Just find out, why is he quiet like that? Is he a person who's generally quiet, or he is quiet because back then when he was a child, there was no one who noticed him, so he was quiet because there was no one who noticed that there's a person there we can talk to, you can share with. So now he's a quiet person.
Yeah. Oh, wow. It's just such a... And I think, especially when you come to African families, maybe now a lot of people are more open to talk about mental wellness, but I still think that there's still that stigma attached to it, and a lot of people are still shy to openly open up about it. And when Dad decides to take his life, how did it affect you guys? And I know obviously healing, also grieving is different. It's different for everyone. How did it affect you? Did he say anything? Did you see any signs?
Yeah. It was hard. I say was now because right now I am at peace. And with the journey, I even stopped asking questions. I even respected him and said, even I think to the point of you taking your own life, it was your decision, and I respect that. It's not what anyone would want or encourage. Not that I'm encouraging anyone to do so, but my own journey, I stopped asking questions. So there were no signs of suicide. Maybe because, like I said, back then, it was in 2017, there wasn't much information like we have now to even go to find out what is bipolar. What does it really do? When a person has it, what are the traits? We didn't quite even have the knowledge to say that. You can even ask the psychiatrist to tell us what are the things we need to look out for. And we never had the conversation with him to ask what comes in your thoughts when you're in these episodes, or what happens when you sleep, or when you're sitting, when you've got those illusions, when you see things, what happens? We never got that far. So when he was in therapy, he was on medication, he was calmer from the medication. We just thought things are now okay, right? And we would talk normally and all that. And when the incident happened, that time I was working for a self-house shelter as an in-house therapist there. So I would stay there for some days and then come back home. He had just come from a trip from work, and it was just like I said, he was that person who thinks of the worst of any kind of scenario. So he had come from that trip, and he said, I forgot to sign in the money that I used for breakfast, that I used it. So then people are going to think that I then stole that $5. And in the group chat, her mom said, your dad didn't sleep well. He was on about, should I go back to Mutare and give them their money? But I did call this person that, I forgot to sign, but I did go for breakfast and this and that. And he was, now, how do I go back to work? And then people will think that I am, what kind of an auditor will I be? And so, and then again, we took it lightly, like, no, you're overreacting. This is nothing and all. And that was it. That was it. We don't know if that is what drove him to that and triggered that. But that was the Friday night. Saturday, I then just got a call from my mom. And then she was just crying. I didn't hear what she was saying. Then she then called the other matron that was at the shelter. That's the person she then told. So when they told me and they said, your dad drank poison, then I was relieved. If it is poison, then I think it's something that can be fixed. Let me go home. On my way home, don't come to the hospital anymore. Come home. He's gone. Yeah.
Just mom found him.
Mom found him. He had locked himself in the bedroom. Removed the keys there to break in the door. They had to ask the tenants from the back. They broke in the door, found him lying down. Oh, I think it was almost gasping the last year. I didn't see that. When I got home, he was already gone. So yeah, that was, for me, I didn't quite get the exposure that I needed. I didn't get the clarity of. Sometimes I used to think that maybe if I had seen him like in that way, I would really then now understand. I just got there, he's not home, and that was about it. And then came family. What did you do to him? There's something that you said. Your dad was a quiet person. He was this and that. Doesn't make sense. It always comes with that judgment of, what did you do? My mom would be like, everyone, sit down, tell us what really happened. Did anything happen before? Was there anything? No. We searched everywhere. My mom even asked to go to his workplace to say, I just want to find, maybe he wrote something, because he did not leave a letter, nothing. She went through her drawers, her diaries, nothing. And I think that was the most painful part, because we did not have any explanation to know exactly what was going on. And then to tell people that, he was having mental challenges. No, there's no such thing as that mental challenge. There's nothing like that. It's bewitching, or if it's not bewitching, then, it's all those things. And I'm grateful for my grandfather. He was still alive then. He stood by us and my mother. So much that even when people were saying, no, he can't come in his house as a coffin. He's the person who took his life. Traditionally, is just supposed to come and be buried. My father said, no, he's my son. We'll do and give him the honorable send off that he needs. And that gave us also some sense of peace in having to go through the whole mourning, the process, and sending him off.
Sure. That's a lot to take for a young lady and for way, but I'm so proud of you and now what you're doing, because I think maybe you're one of those people who probably are very empathetic and able to do your job. I feel like sometimes God takes us through these storms to be able to help other people. What are your 5 life lessons from being a young mom, losing your dad? What are your life lessons that you'd like to give our viewers?
I would say that don't let people be the ones that have the last say. I think it's so wise that you be the person to give your final say on whatever you do. That's number 1. Number 2, go with your inner gut. I believe it will give you a sense of direction. It will give you whatever you're looking for. Number 3, I'm a believer of Christ. Prayer is something that has guided me through as a young mother, even into getting remarried again. That prayer and the word is my foundation that now I still hold to. So that is also a lesson to just take God wherever you are, no matter how broken, no matter how much errors and mistakes you have taken. He can take it all and he can give you a brand new life. Number 4, I would say that family is to be valued. Sticking by each other. And I know it comes with some issues around it, but having to have people that you are able to stand on to fall on, to be there for you is so important. So in everything you do, try to bring back the value of unity and love in the family unit. Number 5 is being true to yourself. That's one principle I started to live from a young age as a young mother, to admit where I am, to admit where I want to go, yes, and admit the past and say that I accept that is my truth. So what am I going to do now? So living in your truth and knowing that truth also is very important.
Wow, those are powerful life lessons, and I hope people will learn. And I can imagine the kind of woman you'll be in 7, 8, 10, 20 years' time. You're just 33.
Yeah.
So the wisdom that you've given us and brought to this program today is just amazing. So I truly believe you're destined for greatness. And God has, as painful as it is, I truly believe that God has something amazing planned for you out there. And the numbers that you're going to reach and the people that you're going to help to heal, I can only say, you know what, I'd love to be there when you do this. So just some fun questions to close. What's your favorite color and why?
Wow. I would say nude colors. Well, I'm in yellow today. I would say nude colors because then they resemble calmness that I have. I'm just a calm person. So yeah, nude colors.
Oh, nice. And your favorite animal and why?
Can I say I'm not like that kind of a person?
Oh, you don't like that?
No, I love dogs.
Oh. No, it's allowed because not everybody likes animals, and you're allowed to do you. What are you currently reading?
I'm reading Mindset.
Yes. Oh, fine. Coincidentally, we're just talking about this book just before you came with someone else. Anyway, this was your last day on earth and you're about to transition and you're like, okay, God, I'm ready to go because I have done. What is it that you feel? If you do this, you can
go. Wow. I have a lot. But picking one, I would want to be in a fellowship with the Holy Spirit because I think when I'm in that space, nothing else matters. When you are in the fellowshipping and the worshiping with the Holy Spirit, I think for me it's priceless. Wow. That is a moment where I have no worries, I have no things undone, I have no regrets. It's just peace.
Wow. And we're packing our bags. We've got our passports. Where are we going?
Wow. Namibia.
Yeah. Wow, why Namibia?
Desert.
Oh.
The amount of sand and just having clear, like when you're in desert, there's nothing no trees and all that. I just think there's just freedom in that much sand and possibilities are endless.
So what do you want to take our viewers with for the week as we're closing off? What is the one thing that you'd like to tell our viewers?
Okay. I would just want to say that there is strength in sharing your story, in talking about your struggles. There is story in rediscovering yourself, and there is power when you accept whatever things that are going on and acknowledge that you need to get help there. You need to move from this side. You need people around you. So let's just talk. Let's have conversations. Let's just be open. Let's just be real. And let's accept one another in as much as we are going through a lot and difficult situations.
Wow. No, thank you so much, Shannon. And to our viewers, you heard what she said. And I encourage you, as you're going into the week, speak out, speak to people. For people talking to them, listen attentive. Don't listen to answer. Listen attentive. Then if you're going through something, don't be shy to speak about it. Don't be shy to reach out. And I do hope you have an amazing week. I'll see you next time. Have a beautiful week. Goodbye.